Hello and welcome to the Crafsman Show. My name today is your host, the Crafsman. In today's video, have you ever thought about how I would like to paint many people throughout the world of history have painted, but unlike them, I don't want to use an airbrush today. Can we use not an airbrush? The first technique we're gonna go over is a real easy one that I find very effective. You start with a painted figure, okay? In my case, I've got this wonderful Magi pillar from Metal Knight Creations, which is a blue figure that I've painted black. All right, often for this type of effect, you can come in with a brush and just paint all over it, nonchalant, but I airbrushed it on because I used less paint that way. But we've got our figure coated right here, and now I'm gonna take me some vinyl thinner and a little makeup sponge right there. We just apply a little bit of thinner, and we just carefully, very carefully just come around here at the surface level, trying to not push it, try not to squish thinner into the crevices and creases. We just want to go across that surface, show. So it's creating a blue highlighted areas and leaving us with almost a blackwashed effect. And the reason I use a makeup sponge instead of like a rag is or like a paper towel, is I have found that you can get real aggressive and you can dull your glossy vinyl surface. So I just like to lightly, really simple, super easy to do as you just witnessed. But Craftsman, I hear you say, I've already got a figure that's painted. Okay, it's true. If you have a figure like this one that's already painted, this is by Elixir Toys. This is the thick gusting mushroom. Delightful little figure with wonderful textures. All right, so the way I did a black wash on this was I applied vinyl paint first, then I mixed up some black wash acrylic and went over it. It seeps into the crevices and creases, and then I just wipe it away with either a little bit of water or isopropyl alcohol. And look, it doesn't even touch the vinyl underneath it. Then you come back over top of that with a gloss seal or something like that. Pretty neat technique. Y'all, this one took me way too long to figure out. We still got our thick gusting mushroom right here, and I was thinking, have you ever tried to add dots to something? Just nice, cleanly defined, circular details. That sounds simple, correct? Now, if you did like I used to, you're gonna know that trying to paint a dot with a brush, it just ain't really intuitive, you know, especially if you got to do a whole bunch of them like that. So this is what I do. We're gonna get hold of some ball tools. I use my same ones that I use when I'm sculpting. And before we just stick our ball tool in the paint and get a glob on there, we're gonna do a couple of things. First of all, we're gonna make sure our paint consistency is relatively thin but got some body to it. You don't want it to be globby, but you certainly don't want it to be runny. It's got to have some pigment. And what I like to do is lay me out some paint on like a flat surface. And that way, my ball tool can only go so far down into it. Helps me to keep things a little more consistent. The ball end shape, it turns out to be very conducive for adding dots with paint. And if you remember our video where we made some sculpting tools, Craftsman made some silicone tipped sculpting tools. You can use that to apply paint as well. So dotting is another fantastic technique to have in your arsenal. Here's a technique I like to use on clear vinyl for getting a consistent color that looks almost dyed, like it was part of the plastic formula. And as a bonus, you cannot scratch it off. The technique is pretty simple. I like to start with some thin paints. This is a clear magenta from Vinyl Wonder. And the idea is to coat the inside of the vinyl by dumping it literally and just rotating it around. Very, very simple procedure. Rotate it all around. You might want to cover up the end of it like that, cap it off and rotate it, you know. Then I will simply take the excess and dump it into my next clear part and rotate it all around. It's wise to let the part sit open like that so that the solvents can evaporate, the paint can cure, and that smell will kind of die down, you know, before you put it together. Here I did the technique on my toy graph Death Trooper, Space Trooper figure here. I really like the way that turned out. And look at this Econ figure by Maggitarius looking like some candy almost. Yeah. Here's one where I took some clear paint, I thinned it down even more, did an interior coat, and then lightly sprayed the outside with a lightly contrasting purple color. This is a Wonderbot figure from Vinyl Wonder. Really neat little figure to paint. Here's another little technique that's super easy. Get you a dropper or a pipette, something like that that can drink up a little bit of paint. And we just take and just pip up a little bit of paint into that. And then we just come in very carefully and just show. It's a phenomenal technique for getting a predefined areas like a flood field. Like if you just click on a computer and just boop. So you need to have a defined area for this to work effectively. And if you flood in, whoa, too much paint, just that's okay. Just calm down. Just come in here and just go, suck it back out of there. See? If you do like Crafsman and you're a little bit messy, just take our makeup sponge and thinner from earlier and just shop. Simple as that. Now, very similarly to the pipette, I like to take my needle tool here and I use it to do some lining. Now, this technique is very similar to the one I just showed you, but the CCL or crevice and creases liner, not really, it's just a needle tool. It's gonna require a little more finesse, okay? You wanna use clearly defined lines, especially when they are continuous like this. But first, let me address something. Yes, Crafsman is a little shaky. I've been this way for as long as I can recall. I asked my doctor about it. I said, "Doctor, are these hand trimmers necessary?" He said, "Actually, they're essential." Anyway, and I like to pick a start point like a corner and carefully angle, not squeezing too much. We just want to glide along. It's just a smooth, steady delivery of pigment right into this crevice. Just like that, we got us a clean line. Almost a clean line. Be sure that you soak up any excess paint. And once again, clean it with our makeup sponge and thinner. I know in the past I'd be all in here thinking I had to use a paintbrush, but y'all, this is so much cleaner and easier. Craftsman, besides videos, what you been up to lately? One thing Craftsman did was I upgraded from a 5-gallon vacuum chamber to a 5-gallon vacuum chamber. LOL. This one holds 5 gallons of actual liquid volume. This smooth on one actually can hold an entire 5-gallon bucket, including the bucket, and that is a dramatic difference. I used to could only fit one mold at a time in here, and now I can fit 2 molds in my new pot since I bent the handles around like that. Yeah, Jerry rig. The goal is to increase production so I can keep making more figures more efficiently. And check this out. We got some new buttons made by my wife and vinyl stickers. These are inspired by the Pizza Hut bucket days, but these ones hopefully inspire you to craft it. Also, we have a new Astro Chunk head in the works. Shout out to my daughter for the design and Theo at Slimehouse TV for the sculpt. We've also got another totally brand new figure in the works, which I've talked about on Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, I want to explicitly thank everyone who supports us on there, as well as the support on Ko-fi and other platforms. If you like my type of videos, please consider supporting us. Links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. If you watched it, thank you. I said that. Until next time, I love y'all and keep on steady crafting. All right.